Hello and welcome to the Music GCSE Study Overview. I'm going to be talking about the 2021 exam year group, which is the current Year 11s, and I'm going to look at how the course is assessed and what the students are going to need to do, including the coursework and the final exams, and also how they can revise and hopefully improve and increase their grade from home. So a quick overview then. The course has changed for this current year group, obviously because of what's going on. They don't need to do two performances. They have to do now one performance, and that can be as a soloist or in an ensemble. Again, they don't have to do two. It's one composition now, which is fantastic because one of them would have definitely been produced last year, which they haven't had the opportunity to do. So yeah, just one composition, and that is either a free composition or to a brief. The exam hasn't changed at all, so they have to do 1 hour of listening. They listen to 8 pieces of work of music from across a whole different scope and range of different styles and in eras, and they answer questions that are associated with those pieces of music. They then have to do a 30-minute written paper, which is all about 2 set works that we are and have been studying, which I'll show you in a moment. So I'll start with the performances then. So they have to choose whether to do it as a soloist or an ensemble. To be honest, it doesn't really matter. They just need to pick a piece that they want to perform, and we'll work out how it's going to be performed, to fit the piece that they're performing. I think it's much better that the students are encouraged to perform the piece that's absolutely right for them, no matter who accompanies it, basically. Most of the students are way ahead of this already. They're already rehearsing regularly. Most students come in lots of students come in at lunchtime to rehearse. I've had some people already perform and record their performances, which is fantastic. Some of them aren't and need to be doing that. Okay, so some people need to be spending a bit more time in the music room at lunchtime, and I've opened up the music room so it's available to Year 11s every lunchtime for them to be able to do that. Some of them are doing a technology performance, which you can read at the bottom there, and that requires that they are using the Mac computers. They're using a piece of software called Logic. They are essentially doing a cover version of an existing piece of music. That's really suiting some students because their instrumental skills aren't necessarily going to get them the higher grades that they want and should be getting. So this is a route into getting that. What I'd encourage those students to do is to treat it like a live performance and to be using their own time to be working on that performance like the instrumentalists would be rehearsing their own instruments. And like I say, lunchtimes are completely available for all Year 11 musicians to be able to come in and use the space appropriately. They have to have something that's a minimum of 2 minutes. I've got combined there, but that's because of the old spec. So it's 2 minutes for one of their performances, and we will submit a score of that performance at the end, which I'll go through with the students. That can be notated. It can be a kind of a visual annotated score. It could be a lyric sheet if they're a singer, for example, and it could be guitar tablature or any number of other options. The performance itself is graded in 3 different areas. They receive a grade or a mark for the difficulty of the piece they choose. An example of that would be a grade 5 or above in music would get them 6 marks. Okay, so a grade 5 or above piece would be the equivalent of a 6-mark piece there, and that goes down accordingly. Then they get 15 marks available, so significantly higher marks are available for their ability to have technical control and accuracy over their instrument. They also get another 15 marks for the way they interpret the original artist's intentions. There's 36 marks in total, which equates to 30% of the total grade. So composition is similar to performance in the respect that they only have to do one of them now. and they get to choose between either doing it to a brief, which I've given the students, or they can do it as a free composition. Most students, actually all of the students, have chosen to do it as a free composition, and that's totally what I would recommend they do as well. We are doing this a lot in class. Composition isn't really something that can necessarily be done easily at home, or as easily I should say, because we use Logic Pro, which is the software we use on the computers to record and create compositions that help them produce music that's far greater and hopefully going to give them much greater scores than if they were to compose on just one single instrument. So they have to demonstrate an understanding in at least 4 of the specific areas I've got there at the bottom. I'm going to show you how that kind of works now. So again, just like performance, there's 36 marks available here, and 18 of those are graded based on their ability to demonstrate an understanding of 2 of the following of these. So we've got rhythm, meter, texture, melody, structure, and form. And then there's the further 18 is for harmony, tonality, timbre, dynamics, phrasing, and articulation. Now, obviously, most compositions will feature all of those within the composition itself, but it's a case of the students being able to demonstrate a really, really strong understanding in at least 2 of them. So they tend to, as their composition develops over time, they tend to then start to pick a couple of these areas that they can then really kind of hone in and focus on to make sure that they're maximising their grades. The exam at the end of the year, so it'd be in June, their exam will be, they have 8 questions which are listening questions. I'll play the piece of music and talk over it. So they will listen to a piece of music like this. They hear each piece of music several times. In this case, there's 3 boxes there, so they hear them 3 times. And they answer those questions attached to them. This is something we do in class an awful lot. We have lessons where we get the students to improve their theoretical knowledge. We get students to understand their listening ability, to improve their listening ability, sorry. It's something we do in class. It is definitely something that they can and should be doing outside of the classroom as well. They've obviously, they've lost a little bit of time here, and the exam isn't going to change. It's not an easy exam. Sometimes it can be quite daunting listening to music that they've never heard before and having to try and work out some questions that are quite tricky. So that's definitely an area that I would encourage all students to be revising and doing extra work on from home wherever possible. So they also have to do a 30-minute written piece at the end based on 2 set or study pieces. The first one is of Joseph Haydn's Symphony 101. It's a second movement. It's quite a familiar piece of music, and the students have already done quite a lot of this during lockdown. Actually, it was quite good that we could use that time to look at this piece of music. We'll do a lot more on this as well. We haven't fully started to do the Beatles yet, but I know that the students are going to get into that and quite enjoy doing and listening to those 3 pieces of music. The questions, I'll show you an example of a question. It will be something like this: explain how Haydn has used musical elements to create a sense of balance in the second movement. So the questions can be quite tricky to sort of get your head around, and we do quite a lot of practice of this as the exam comes near, because the students have to be armed with a lot of knowledge of these particular set works, so that when they go into the exam they can essentially recite from memory what they understand and know about these set works. So a lot of practice is needed. We listen to the piece of music a lot, but we kind of look into those pieces of music in a lot more detail. We have a website that we've paid up for, that the students are all able to use. They use it already. They use it for homework every week, and it's absolutely fantastic for revision. it goes way beyond what we set as I set as homework, because it's vast. It's a really kind of big resource for listening and understanding to music. And I would really encourage the students to be looking at this from now all the time up until the exam, to be doing the tests regularly, to be getting into the habit of using it as a revision tool. It really is a great website, and there's a whole area in there just about AQA music as well, so they can look at all of these set pieces in a huge amount of detail. It's a really good resource. We've also got places like Bite Size. Bite Size is now fantastic as well for music. It's really great for understanding just certain words, key words that they may be struggling with. If, for example, when they receive their cue cards, which they will do soon, they might struggle with a particular type of texture or something. And Bite Size is fantastic for that. It's got really great videos that help help students understand those key words. But yeah, this music, this Focus on Sound website is a really strong platform that I would recommend a lot. So some other options here as well. Yeah, like I said, I'll be creating a revision. Well, I have created a revision pack that the students will receive soon. That will feature some cue cards. It features some set work, extra kind of study packs for that. It also features a big kind of glossary of all these key terms that they need to go over. What I would recommend, if you can, is get this book as well. It's available on Amazon. I think it's £9. I think, and it's good for two reasons. First, it just sort of covers everything that needs to be covered. There's quite a lot of text in there though, and I think for me the best thing about this book is all the practice papers that it includes with it. It's got some really great practice revision material on that CD. So yeah, it's well worth having a look for that. As is also, and I've not written on here, apologies, is YouTube. YouTube's really great for music revision. If you go onto it and you type in AQA music exam revision, you will find many different exam practice papers that you can practice on it, and you can hear the audio. You can have a go at answering the questions. It's really good because it's closer to the real exam than it is through reading or using some kind of book for that. So it's really great for the students to get in the habit of actually listening to the music that they've got to answer the questions about. That's it for my overview. If I've missed anything, or if you're unsure about anything, please get in touch with me. My email address is at the bottom there as well. Thank you very much. Bye bye.